Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Epic Vision Zone. My name is Jane Applegath, a former award-winning stockbroker, television producer, scriptwriter, yoga instructor, serial entrepreneur, and now founder of the Epic Vision Zone. Each show, we offer you an inspiring person or message to bring you closer to your big dream by showing you how to enter the portal of your new epic reality, the place where possibilities, prosperity, and potential reign so that you can live your epic life. A big thank you to everyone for being here today. Writer-creator LeAura Alderson wrote, "Move in with the mindset of the life you want to live." Allyson Chavez is a prosperity and success coach for ambitious, God-centered women. She teaches women how to get phenomenal results with ease and grace, achieve their goals without hustle or grind, and reshape their reality in feminine energy. Allyson says when we learn how to manage our thoughts and energy and connect to our highest frequency, we stop living a life of doubt and overwhelm and discover how to consistently live a life of joy, love, and prosperity. Her motto, experience success without the struggle. And there we go. I love that. A sought-after speaker on mindset, prosperity, universal laws, and success strategies, Allyson is the best-selling author of The Prosperity Approach. Her work has been featured on CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox, and hundreds of nationally syndicated television, newspapers, and magazines. Allyson believes that challenge is necessary on your success journey, but the struggle is not. Her mission is to end the struggle and bring joy to the lives of millions of women around the globe. Welcome, Allyson. It is such a delight to have you here today.
Jane, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited and honored to be here.
Well, we are excited and honored to have you, and I cannot wait to delve in. Allyson is so magnificent, and the message that she has is one that we all need to learn and listen to, because don't we all want to succeed without the struggle? Oh my gosh, that is key to life as well. So tell us about your journey from fear to fortune.
Well, my journey started 10 years ago when I had a very strong impression to get into the online space and build an online business. And I had no idea how to do that. I just said, yes, okay, let's do it. And so I actually built my company from zero to multiple six figures in just over 2 years. But it was filled with stress. It was filled with anxiety, with worry, with my mind telling me that I was going to ruin my family financially, that I didn't know what I was doing, that I didn't actually make a difference. And within a short amount of time, once we had hit multiple six figures, my business began to topple. And so the harder I worked, the faster that thing fell. And it culminated in really, Jane, my biggest fear at the time was bankruptcy, not having enough money. And that's exactly where we landed. We landed in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. And when the dust finally settled, I looked around me and I had this moment of clarity and I thought, wow, I created this and I didn't mean to. And this isn't actually as bad as I thought it would be. If I created this, I bet I can create my way out of this. And when I stopped beating myself up for being a screw up, for not making good business decisions, for running my family off a financial cliff, like when I got out of all of that nonsense talk and really just claimed what I had created with a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit of pride. I didn't mean to create what I created, but man, I must have been really powerful. I really think that that's when God stepped in. Well, he was there all the time, but he was like, now we can work with her, because then I was finally in a space where I could hear, and because I wasn't letting the fear guide me any longer, I could let that quietness, that peace inside me start to guide. And so I learned some things. I learned about feminine energy. I learned about how money worked. I learned about subconscious programs. And then we started to leap. And so I took my company from bankruptcy to $232,000 in 6 months. And then we went to 500,000 in 2020. And we all know 2020 is seared in our memories forever. We hit almost 1 million last year, and we're tracking for 1 million this year. And I did it through just ownership, claiming what I had created without any of the beat up anymore, and really starting harnessing the power of my mind, really understanding how energy works and universal laws worked. And wow, Jane, it was filled with so much fun and so much ease. Now there was definitely effort, and there was definitely like those I call them butt clenching moments. There were those, oh, that feels so ambitious, but it was so fun, and it was so much easier to bounce back than it ever was for me to crash.
Wow. I know. I feel that. My gosh, you're giving me goosebumps because I can feel your energy. And it's so interesting that you said that you were in a fear state from the get-go when you started your first attempt at going online.
Yep.
And it's interesting
Mm-hmm.
because I saw it as you actually drew the bankruptcy to you because your thoughts were
Absolutely.
emitting that frequency, right? And all this time you're
Yep.
telling this story, and I'm thinking, aha, she drew it to you because you had that thought. That's what you were emitting. And I know it
Uh-huh.
sounds crazy, but I get it completely. And how fabulous is this that you are now tracking to $1 million? And I am so excited. So thank you for sharing that because it shows us too that we don't always take off from the get go. You know, we like to beat ourselves up a lot of times, women especially, because we say we're launching this new business, I'm going to be a success. And then, you know, we have to recalibrate sometimes, and that's okay. You know, I mean,
Yes.
like you said, you pulled back, you learned, you took on some more information, some more knowledge, and now look where you are. So kudos to you, and thank you for sharing that. You have a favorite Einstein quote. Tell us about that and why you call it physics.
So my favorite Einstein quote goes like this: everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. So I call it physics because Einstein called it physics. And it actually filled me with so much relief and so much comfort when he says, this isn't philosophy. This isn't just some guy's idea of how everything works. This is backed by science. This is physics. And I understand science time. But at that stage of the game, like, you can rely on this. There are scientific laws that back this and that prove that this theory is absolutely true. And I thought, gosh, if it's that simple, all I have to do is match my frequency with the frequency of the reality that I want, and I cannot help but get that reality. There's no other way around it. I better stop manipulating, and I better start calibrating.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Stop manipulating and start calibrating. And it's so interesting because he says it's that simple. But when you're in the grind of it all, as you called it, it doesn't seem that simple. But that's the teachings that you have, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. So you say that energy is intelligent. What does that mean, and how do we apply it to our lives?
So we live in a universe of expansion. And according to Einstein, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. And so that means that energy has a frequency, and which is another word for vibration, and energy is intelligent. So you are energy. I'm energy. The camera is energy. Everything is energy. And we're here in this universe of expansion. So we are all here to expand. Every living entity wants to expand. And even our businesses are living entities because they're an extension of our mind. They're an extension of us. And we want to grow and we want to expand. And I believe that I am a creation from the master creator, God. And as the crowning creation, I'm here to have dominion over everything. And that includes my thoughts, and that includes my emotions, and that includes energy. So energy wants to expand too, because we have those lower vibrations of like fear and guilt and stress and worry and anxiety. And then we have the higher vibrations of hope and optimism and joy and gratitude and appreciation. And energy wants to go from those lower vibrations to the higher vibrations because of the universe we live in, which is a universe of expansion. And so that's what I mean by energy is intelligent. It's a living entity, and it wants to expand to meet its potential, for lack of a better word, just like all of us do.
Perfect. I love that it wants to expand to reach its full potential. Yes, I read a quote by, oh my gosh, the chicken soup.
Oh,
I
Jack
forgot his name.
Canfield.
Yes, Jack Canfield. He said the greatest plight of the human being is knowing you have more potential and not using it. And that's so true, because in a sense, he's referring to the universe, and we're all here to grow and expand. So thank you for letting us know that. I love the way that you phrased it, that it is an intelligence. And so therefore we do have to understand its intelligence and work with it. So you also wrote that you said that there was a gap in the personal development industry, and your approach is unique to others. Give us some idea of what that means, and how you saw this gap in the personal development industry.
Well, I experienced the gap for myself. And I think most people do. And really it's in every industry, whether it's the business industry, the personal development industry, the weight loss industry, any kind of improvement or growth industry, there are two huge gaps, and there's no implementation and there's no accountability. And so
Mhm.
they say, hey, read my book, but then there's nobody there to help us to implement what you're learning in the book, because we get really, really excited. And then the novelty wears off very quickly because we have very, very short attention spans. And so there's nobody there that helps us to navigate the implementation pieces of the amazing information that's in the books. And then there's nobody there to hold us accountable to what we say we want in really loving ways, but in really powerful ways. And I would jump from mentor to mentor and program to program, and I'm a really driven woman, and I have high levels of commitment. But you know what, back in the day, I would fall victim to fear faster than most. And I would spin, and then I would talk myself out of my dreams, or I would just tell myself how hard this was, or I wouldn't actually expect to succeed. And if I had somebody that was there that was helping me to navigate and was calling out those nonsense thoughts and helping me to pivot and showing me my blind spots, wow, I don't believe it would have ended in a bankruptcy, which was actually a really, really beautiful new beginning, but it would have saved me years and years of anguish and stress and running programs of not being enough if that gap had been closed.
Yes, I think you're so right. I love that, because you're right. I mean, I've bought programs myself that, they're basically tutorials online, but you just watch them, and then, you take some notes. There's nobody to send them to, nobody to bounce the thoughts back from, like, did I get this right? Do I understand it? And that's where you sit. I mean, you're out there in outer space all by yourself. It's like, go for it.
Right.
Like, go for what? Yeah. And unfortunately, what we all do is I'll watch a couple and I go, I'll get back to those. And I never do. It's
I
not good.
know. I take these amazing notes and then I never read them again.
I know. I've got books. I'm trying to clean them out now, but because I know they're important and they were at the time. But it's like, okay, well, we'll move on. But thank you for that. Yes, accountability and follow up, and that actually leads us to our next question, because you have a Rise Up group mentoring program. So give us some insight into this unique program of yours.
So these two gaps that I found in the industry that were very painful for me to experience, I'm determined to close them in my own group mentoring program. And so I actually created a 6-month group mentoring program called Rise Up, and it teaches you the all of the components of conscious creation in a very practical, easy to understand and digest method, because there's lots of moving pieces when we're wanting to create the reality that we want. When as women we're learning how to lead with feminine energy, very few women know how to do that because we haven't been taught that, and it can get really easy to get lost in all of the details and the pieces of conscious creation. And so I created modules that teach you step by step and the order to take them in, but I also added a live training component to it. So not only do you get your very own implementation coach, so you have somebody there that's going to help you implement right from where you are to get you where you want to be, but she also holds you accountable in ways that serve you. So I really don't like people like cracking the whip on me and like saying, "What's wrong with you, you loser? Why didn't you do what you said you were going to do?" Like, I don't like the bully approach to accountability. And there's a lot of people that really do like that. I need you to yell at me. I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of those people, but I want to know, like, how does my client want to be held accountable in ways that feel very powerful to her? So she gets to have that conversation with her coach. And then you have group time with me. So I can give you ongoing training because I'm obsessed with energy. I'm obsessed with femininity and masculinity, and I'm obsessed with all of the different pieces. And I am going to master these in my life. And so as I learn more, I want to share that with my clients. So twice a month, we get together in a group setting online, and I give them extra training. And then I open it up for individual coaching. So I can see right where you are on your journey, and I can help navigate wherever you are on your journey. And then, of course, we need community. A lot of times, especially as entrepreneurs, we feel like we're alone on this island and that we're the only crazy ones and we don't know what we're doing and we're the only ones doing it wrong. At least that's how I felt. And so I created a really beautiful, oh, you can relate to that as well, Jane? Good. I'm not the only one. But I created this beautiful sacred sisterhood of people that are your brand of crazy, that want to learn the things that you want to learn. And we're here to encourage each other and support each other. And they have accountability buddies within that program as well, so that they've got that individual, somebody texting them, how are you doing? What did you do today with what you were learning and all of that. And so that's what I teach in my Rise Up group mentoring program, to really close those gaps and use it as a launching pad to get women to their next level of success without having to struggle their way through it.
Oh, it sounds wonderful. I mean, community, we're all actually programmed to be in communities. So you have it in many different ways. I love that you've got individuals having a buddy, because, oftentimes you'll be in the midst of something and you won't be coming on for a couple of days or whatever, but so you've got your buddy, but then you also have you, and you've got, from what I understand, you've got other coaches that also facilitate the clients through moving through the program. So I love that. You've ticked off all the boxes. I mean, there's no reason why anybody should be left straggling behind.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't believe in people being left behind. Now, we can't drag people to their dreams. And so,
right.
We don't want to take you kicking and screaming to your dreams, but I really want to close those gaps so that they know they're not alone to figure this out. And it's not necessary to be alone and trial and error your way to success.
Absolutely. And I love that, because what happens when you come together as a group, you start to generate more energy. And therein lies the power, right? It's like the electricity going through the wires. I mean, we're generators, and when we all come together, we generate more of that, and therefore the attraction. It just goes on and on. I love it. It's wonderful. So speaking of energy, give us some examples of low vibration energy and some simple ways to move that we can pump that up to a higher vibration. Say, for example, maybe just three different tips that we can do while we're at home or we're getting ready for a launch or whatever. How can we help ourselves to shift a low energy state to a higher energy state or vibration?
Well, the first thing that I say, and this is my mantra, is massive awareness with zero judgment. We've got to get into awareness of where our vibration is. And the way that we know where our vibration is by our emotions. And most people are really afraid of their emotions. And so they try to deny them or tuck them away, and then they just fester and make us physically ill. But emotions are physical indicators of where your vibration is at. And so if you're feeling lethargic, if you're feeling depressed, if your thoughts are, this isn't going to work and I'm going to give it my best shot, but it's probably not going to work, or this is going to take me a really long time, that you'll feel that in your body, where it's really hard to actually get yourself enthused enough to really get going. And so get into awareness about that, because we create our reality with our thoughts and with our emotions. And so we got to get into a massive awareness, and then just observation, like, oh, do you know what? This feeling is not actually going to lead me to the result that I desire. And so what would I rather feel right now? That's my first tip that I would say. What would I rather feel right now? Well, I'd rather feel satisfied. Oh, okay. Yeah, satisfaction is a whole lot better than it's probably not going to work. So when have I felt satisfied before? Really simple ways. Oh, when I take a drink of water after I'm thirsty, I'm really satisfied. When I eat, when I'm hungry, I'm really satisfied. If I can take a deep breath and it catches in my lungs, you know, those really deep breaths, it just feels so good, then I'm satisfied. And you can very easily like soothe your way into a higher vibration. So that's one thing that you can do. Another thing that you can do, especially as women, when you're in that low vibration. Now, I tend to attract women that are they're overwhelmed, they're in burnout, they're unfulfilled, they're high performers, they reach their goals, but they just feel empty when they reach their goals, because then they're like, I like gave my whole soul for that. Now I have to double that. Holy cow, when will this ever end? And so we need to get back into our body. We need to get back into the moment. And so when you're feeling low, put on a piece of your favorite music. And it doesn't have to be like, now I got to jazz myself up, but just music that it's just, it makes you smile, or it just makes you tap your toe. Like, you don't have to get out and dance, although that's a really powerful way to raise your vibration. But if you're in a really low place, just put on some music. And I don't think that I'm sharing anything that people don't already know about, but really it's the implementation that makes all of the difference. So just try it. Give yourself 2 minutes and see how you feel. And the number one thing that I did when I was in a really, really low state, so I ran these programs that I'm not enough, that my business isn't going to grow, that I'm going to lead my family off the cliff, like all the things. And so there was an enormous amount of stress and anxiety that I put myself under, lots and lots of pressure. And I remember one day I was headed to an event that I was in charge of emceeing, and I was about ready to just burst into tears. And I thought, oh dear, I'm going to be on stage almost all day long. I can't take this energy to this event. So I started looking around. I was driving in my van at that time. I had a van at the time. And I was like, okay, well, what's working for me right now? Because life felt like it was falling apart. So I thought, what's working for me right now? Well, the van is warm. It was a cold, cold December morning, but the van was warm. So I was warm, and that's working for me. And we had these leather seats, and the seats were heated. And so my bum was warm. And I remember thinking, I can do anything when I have a warm bum. So that's working for me. And the radio works. Like, Jane, I went really silly and I went really, really simple, but I had to pull things that were in my immediate vicinity, right in my environment, to help me calm down, to know that I'm always supported and everything is always working for me. Because at that time, I felt like everything was working against me. And I actually looked at the clock when I started this little exercise, and it took 2 minutes for me to start feeling better, just by pulling things from my environment. It was a beautiful blue day, or a blue sky day, and I love blue skies. So that was working for me. So I just started reminding myself, you know, everything is working for you and it's okay. And it's very simple, almost silly, but wow, it has the power to change your life. It changed mine, and it changes my clients. They use it all the time to help them get out of those low vibrations and into those high vibrations. But it lends to my whole idea. We got to calibrate instead of manipulate. And so what we do as women is we start to manipulate. I shouldn't feel this way, so I got to get hyped up, and I got to do the rah rah songs, and I got to jump up and down. And you're doing all the things, but you're still feeling despair, or you're still feeling like nothing's going to work, and then you're more discouraged, and you make it harder, even harder on yourself. So these are just really simple ways that you can then calibrate to those higher vibrations.
I love that. What's working for me now? Oh my gosh, that is so simple and easy. And it's true. I mean, what it does is it starts to shift your thoughts. And I know why when you say when we're not calibrating, that we're manipulating, it's because we're not being authentic. And when we're being inauthentic, we're drawing that phoniness. And that's a vibration as well. You know, when we're being authentic, we're vibrating at a certain level. When we're being inauthentic. But I love that you're right. Our emotions are the first sign of our energy. And I always say it's because emotions are energy in motion. So,
Exactly.
yeah, absolutely. And our thoughts are the language of the mind, and our feelings are the language of the body. So how we think and feel creates our state of being, which I'm sure you've probably heard before. But so
Yes.
that was such a great tip. I love that. I am going to remember that. What is working for me now? And that's a great takeaway. So tell us the role, you touched on this somewhat, but tell us the role that feelings have in helping us to manifest our dreams.
Do you know what? Feelings have the biggest role of anything to manifest our dreams, because the universe doesn't respond to our words. The universe responds to our vibration. And as you said, emotions are energy in motion, and emotions and feelings are the physical indicator of what we're emitting at any given moment. So Bob Proctor used to say, words words are just noise, vibrations never lie. And so the universe then responds not to our words, not to the everything's fine, it's fine, I'm fine, everything's fine. It responds to the everything's falling apart and I feel powerless absolutely to even change anything. And what happens if this, that, and the other happens? And how is that going to play out? Like, it responds to the emotions. And because we live in a universe of grand abundance, we get the physical counterpart of whatever we're emitting back to us, because every thought and every emotion has a physical counterpart attached to it. And so our emotions, like when I work with clients who come to me and they've shut down their desires, so they don't even know what their dreams are and they wouldn't even know what it looks like, I'll tell them, well, how do you want to feel? Because that's all we need to tap into, really, is how do you want to feel? Well, I want to feel peace. All right, so we got to get your body into the emotion of peace and emitting that vibration, because now you're going to pull to you circumstances which give you peace, and situations and things and people that then facilitate that peace. But you got to feel it first. So yeah, and emotions are the hardest part, aren't they, Jane? They were the
Yeah.
hardest part for me. Like the thoughts, I can dial in the thoughts, but then I don't believe the thoughts. You know, like the whole I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich, and your body is like, no, we're not. We can't make the payments, like whatever it is. Or have you seen inflation? Or have you seen this, that, or the other? So it argues with us. So, but words are noise. Vibrations never lie. So emotions are key to creating the life that you want.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I'd never heard that words are noise. Because that is so powerful. Yeah, because I love that you do that. You say to your clients, well, how do you want to feel? Because in building a vision of a future, that's exactly what I do as well. I say, don't get into your mind. Tell me how you want to feel in the future, because that's where you need to go. So, oh my gosh, like I can so totally relate to that. So it's so powerful, because it's when you're feeling something that's it, that you're either in the right place or the wrong place. But like you said, we like to stuff our feelings or hide our feelings, because that's a lot of times there's a lot of baggage that comes with that. But certainly,
Right.
and you're being, you don't want to express it because you're being, you have to be tough. You have to be strong. You're going to get through this. It's like you said, you're not calibrating, you're manipulating. But anyway, thank you for that. So you have something here that you say, wouldn't it be nice if? it's a subconscious reprogramming exercise. Tell us about that, because I think this is really fascinating.
So our two minds, we got the conscious mind and the subconscious. Other people call it the unconscious. To me, those words are interchangeable, but we have these two minds that have to get into agreement with each other. And when you're telling yourself something that you don't feel is true, you're going to create internal conflict. So it's the same thing like, hey, everything always works out for me. No, everything's falling apart. Remember when this happened and that didn't work out? And so we create this internal conflict. And so the subconscious mind cannot be reprogrammed through coercion or through arguing or through like beating it up. It has to be persuaded. It has to be seduced. It has to be invited and enticed. And so this is the way that you kind of get into your subconscious through the back door, because you're taking the argument out. So we say something like, wouldn't it be nice if I had 100 clients that came to me easily? Wouldn't it be nice if that happened? Well, now your subconscious doesn't have anything to argue against, because yeah, it would be really nice if that happened. Instead of like these mantras of, I have 100 clients, or I'm a 7-figure earner, or whatever that is, and you're immediately in conflict, just say, gosh, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice to be an 8-figure CEO? Wouldn't that be nice? And then your subconscious is like, yeah, actually it would be nice. And then you take it a step further, because now you've taken out the argument. So now there's no more conflict. And now you just say, gosh, what would that look like? What would that look like to see 2 commas in my bank account? Oh, what would it look like to make that kind of an impact to that many lives? How would I celebrate that? Where would I live? What would I be wearing that day when I saw where I'm an 8-figure CEO? So like, what would it look like? So now you're visualizing in very simple ways and in very easy ways. And then we ask, how do you think that'll feel? Oh, I will feel so successful. I'd feel so humbled, because I knew it wasn't just me doing it, that there was a higher power working through me and with me. And that I would feel so victorious, because I would be that next level person, and I'd have another level of mastery, and it would feel so satisfying. Isn't that fun? Like, did I take you there? Was I successful at taking you there to be an 8-figure CEO? In just really simple ways. So you just got to end the argument. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if this were true? What would that look like? How do you think that would feel? That's so fun. Such a fun exercise to run when you're in the shower, or especially when you're drifting off to sleep. That's really fun. That's a great time to get into your subconscious and start reprogramming it.
Absolutely. I love it, Allyson. What you're doing is you're creating story. And
Yep.
It is so powerful, because your thoughts are the story, and this is the way I see it from a script writing point of view, but also from the mind, is that our thoughts become the script, or the story script. And then our script is projected onto our subconscious mind, which is then turns it into a perception or reality. And that becomes our movie. So that's so brilliant what you just did. And I love it, because yes, that is all the power of imagination. And it's like Einstein said, imagination is more powerful than knowledge. And when you understand it like you do, and you get it, that's where you see what he meant when he said that imagination is much more powerful and valuable than knowledge. Thank you for that. I love it. I love it. Wouldn't it be nice if? Okay, we're all going to trick our subconscious mind into believing whatever we're going to want. So I was listening to your website videos, and I hear you and see you now, and I can feel your energy. I could feel your energy on your little reels there on your website. And it's the energy in your voice. I mean, it's also the energy in your body language, but you're not moving a lot. But the energy, did that change from before? And what advice can you give your audience or our audience here today when it comes to speaking on video for greater impact? Because this is now our new world.
Yes, yes, it is. So I would say absolutely my energy changed from before, because before I was in a whole lot more manipulation energy because I didn't know better, more so than I was in calibration. And so there was a bit of, I wouldn't say desperation to it, but there might have been, because I wasn't quite sure if it would work. I believed that that it would work. I believed in universal laws and mindset and energy and all of that, but I still hadn't quite dialed into me calibrating to what I desired. So I was still in some manipulation energy. And yes, that comes through, and people don't know what it is. Like, they don't pick up on it on a conscious level, but they're like, oh, there's just something that doesn't fit right. There's something that's a little bit off. Not that somebody is completely lying to you, but you pick it up on an energetic level, and you can't put your finger on it, but your energy picks up on that as well. And the more convicted I became about what I taught, because and what I continue to teach, the more convinced I became, because I saw that evidence in my own life, the easier it was for me to speak with absolute authority and absolute um, knowledge, wisdom born of experience, that this is how it works. And I'm so glad that that came through on video. And so, to share with your audience what they can do so that their energy can come through on video, because as we know, like, a lot can get lost in translation between you and the lens of that camera. And so it really is just asking yourself, do I believe in what I'm teaching? Do I have conviction that what I am teaching is going to help other people's lives, or it's going to make a difference to others? That's a very, very powerful energy. And also, I think just being yourself. I mean, more so than ever, the marketplace and everybody wants transparency. We're tired of being lied to. We're tired of the bait and switch. We're tired of, like, the perfect human. It's like, will you just show up and be you? and and just and let me connect with you that way. And so I always just remind myself, I just need to be me. I don't need to be Jane. I just need to be me with my, like, my big huge hair and my huge smile, and just and share and hope that it contributes in some way to somebody's life. And just know that, that this is me, and I am enough. And I really think that translates. But as far as logistics are concerned, get yourself some good lighting, get yourself a good microphone. If you need to do a little bit of bouncing before, if you're feeling a little bit lethargic, then do that. Make sure you've drunk enough water so your lips don't stick to your teeth, and just have fun. Just talk to the one person, that one person that you want to connect with. And you might not know who she is yet or who he is yet, but just talk to them and have a conversation.
Yeah, I love that. Have a conversation, because your energy, it says everything. And the reason I brought that up, Allison, was that I do see quite a few videos on different websites here and there. And women in particular tend to not own their voice. They talk
Yeah.
very like they're talking to their children. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you have such vital information. You are a rock star. Let's step it up a notch.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yes, they're authentic, but it's don't keep it inside of you. Tell the world that you're here and you're so excited to share this information. So thank you for that information. Yes, just like you're having a conversation with your best friend, and you're so
Yeah.
excited that you can't help yourself but to just be talking like you've got diarrhea of the mouth. Because you can always add it, but thank you. Yeah, absolutely. And you have great energy on camera and on your videos, and I picked up on that, so I just wanted to point that out. Now, what inspired you to author your book, The Prosperity Approach: The Simple Formula to Massive Prosperity?
Jane, the biggest frustration that I had experienced in my own journey to success and really learning about prosperity is that I knew it, but I didn't know how. And so I was so frustrated. Like I knew I was getting in my own way. And so I would listen and I would read and I would gather all of this information and I would try to implement, but then I'd get in my own way all the time. And when I finally started like figuring it out, I thought, you know what? I'd really love to document what I'm doing, because I don't want to just like manifest and not know what I was doing with manifesting, or the higher level of manifesting is conscious creation. But I want to be able to rinse and repeat, to know like, oh, wow, that technique works really well. And it's continued to work really, really well. I need to write this down so that I could keep things in order. And so, really, the prosperity approach was born from that, a desire to have everything organized, because I didn't make up the information. I certainly didn't make up all of the universal laws. I just organized it as I was using it. And with universal laws, what I realized when I was organizing them was that the universal laws that govern prosperity and creation can be put into two different categories: laws to use to get you going when you're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and wet behind the ears and nothing will stop you, and laws to use when nothing is working. Because there is always that time in the process of creation where it feels like everything is falling apart, when it's actually falling together. And so that really was like my own guidebook, that I thought, this is helpful for me. I think it's going to be helpful for other people as well. And prosperity and money and conscious creation does not have to be this mystical, ethereal thing that nobody can sink their hands into, because I was so tired of learning about the theory. I wanted practical application. And as I did that, I jotted it down and then put it into a book.
Wow. Fabulous. I can't wait to get my hands on it. It sounds amazing. And I love the title, by the way. So you
Thank
have
you.
a course called the Mind Power Course. Sounds
Mhm.
really interesting. Give us a little insight into that course that you offer.
So the Mind Power course is all about what happens between your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and your body when you are trying to get to that next level of success. Because there are physiological things that happen in your body that cause anxiety, that cause stress as you're ready to up level. And so I've broken all of that down and I show you what's going on when you battle it out between those two minds, and what happens when you choose the fear over the dream, and what happens when you choose the dream over the fear. And it really is my effort to show people how enormously powerful they are to create the reality they desire and to live life on their terms. We keep waiting for others to tell us we're enough. We keep waiting for others to give us permission. We keep waiting for circumstances to change. And what I have learned from my own experience, and what it sounds like your own experience too, Jane, with the laws and with how energy and mind power actually works, that you don't have to wait for permission at all. And this is the best circumstance ever to prove to yourself how powerful you are, to literally live the life of your dreams. But there are specific things that are going on that, when you understand what's going on, makes you more powerful. It helps you to let go of fear and stress a whole lot more easily than if you didn't know what was going on. And it helps you to be more intentional and helps you to stay committed during those times where it's super easy to throw in the towel on our dreams.
Yes, absolutely. We always need to be calibrating. I mean, that's the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It's like they say, intention, and it doesn't mean that you have to be. I always thought that I had to be watching my thoughts all the time, and it's not the case, because then you get wrapped up in that. Oh, what am I thinking? Should I be? And then it's like I'm thinking bad thoughts. I've had to change my thinking. And it's really not. It's really about being present, and like you said, what is
Yes.
working for me now? Just that I'm breathing, just that I have my health. It's a sunny day here. I mean, when you start to realize what is working for you now in your life, what happens is it brings you to the present moment. It brings you to the awareness of now. And it's like, be in the step you're in, which is here and now. And when you do that, all the overwhelm just falls by the side, because the overwhelm is the chatter going, I'm doing this, but I have this and this and this and this to do. So your to-do list is recorded in your background, and you're thinking of that while you're doing this. So you're just overwhelming yourself. I get it. I've been there.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And you
Yeah.
still have to you still need to recalibrate. I'm sure when you're ramping up to launch something or to whatever, you're working on one thing and you're thinking, okay, now I've got to do this, I've got to do that. But it's okay. I mean, as long as we're aware of what we're doing. But what happens is, a lot of times we aren't aware of that, and we don't understand why. We're, at the end of the day, we're completely burnt out. We're completely stressed. We're completely in overwhelm, and you just can't wait to hit that pillow and just shut the world off.
Mhm.
And it's because we're running on high. We're in high gear all day long. It's almost like you
Yeah.
have your foot on the gas pedal and on the brake at the same time. So you can imagine those wheels zzz, and all that smoke coming up. But anyway, that's just, I'm painting a picture because that's my imagination. But I can see that and I can feel it. So that course sounds amazing, because I think it would just bring everybody to a place where they can understand more about how all of this works and why we need to be aware and calibrating all the time. So give us an
Yes.
idea about your podcast, The Prosperity Approach. Where can people listen to it, and what is it all? Is it with you? Is it with guests? Give us just a little tidbit of what that podcast is about.
Oh, so it's called the Prosperity Approach, and you can go to prosperityapproach.com/listen, or go to any platform that plays podcasts. We're on all the big platforms. It's also done in video style, so you can look it up on YouTube as well, and you can watch it. Mainly, it's with me. I do have special guests on every once in a while. I think I want you on my podcast, Jane. I'm so loving this conversation with you. We'll have to talk about that a little bit later after your show. But it really is boots on the ground tactics and strategies for your inner game, not so much your outer game. Because again, like I don't care about the prosperity theory. I don't care about the theory of anything. I want to know, how does this work in my life? What does this look like? What does this sound like? How do I do this? Because remember, my biggest frustration was that I knew it, but I still didn't know how. And I was like, will somebody just tell me how to do this? I will do whatever I have to do, but I don't know how to let go and let God, for instance, or I don't know how to just detach from the outcome. I tell myself I've detached from the outcome, but then I'm completely bent out of shape when it doesn't work out the way I want to. So how do I stop that? How do I not micromanage the journey? And so that's really what the Prosperity Approach podcast is all about. Are what are some simple things that you can do in your everyday life that open you up to receiving more and more prosperity? And we're not just talking money. We're talking in your relationships, in your physical well-being, in your mental health, certainly in your connection with God and your level of spirituality, but in all cornerstones of your life. We want you to be prosperous. And so that's what the Prosperity Approach podcast is all about.
I can't wait to tune in. I know that I'll be listening to all of them with rabid interest. And thank you so much for that invite. But thank you. I would encourage everyone, because that's a great way as well. Let's say you're having an off day, just dial into someone
Mhm.
like Allyson and recalibrate, because we have tools like your podcast that we don't, there's no money involved, there's no membership. We can just go and find it and saying, oh, fabulous, I found what I needed, now I feel so much better. Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's just like easy medicine. So
Yes,
what excites
yes.
you about the future in your life right now?
Possibilities and the
Mm.
unknown. Like that excites me. And the unknown just used to terrify me, because what if the unknown is bad? And now, just like that next level of me, and who do I show up as, and how do I behave, and how do I speak, and what do I speak about, and just like learning more about that next level and that mastery and all of the possibilities that life has to offer. Really, that just lights me up right now.
That is so powerful, possibilities, because where we are right now in this particular time and space is, you hear all the negative and all the this, and and people aren't thinking possibilities, they're thinking impossibilities, like where
They
are
are.
we headed? But there again, it's all your mindset, it's all your thoughts, it's all your perspective. How are we
Yes.
perceiving what we're seeing? If you ask someone to describe something, and then you ask another person to describe something, they're different. It's just like when the police come to an accident and they interview different people, and everybody saw the accident, but they all have a different perspective. Well, I
Yeah.
love your perspective on the world, because it's true. There are things happening, and there always will be, but what are the possibilities that are going to come from this? Oh my gosh, that was so Beautiful. Thank you, Allyson. So any last words that you would like to share with our audience?
Because we are in these, I love your word, unpredictable times, because we are in so much unpredictability right now, something that has brought me an enormous amount of comfort is understanding first that growth and comfort are not friends, but you can still be comforted as you grow. And as I've looked at challenges that are unique to me and my company right now that we've never experienced, instead of looking at challenges as something that I'm getting beat up with, they are initiations into my next level of greatness. And I learned that from Joe Dispenza. And I was like, I really love that. A challenge is nothing more than an initiation to my greatness. And so it makes me much more open to everything that's coming, because it's not coming at me, it's coming to me, and it's coming for me. And so those of you, and I think all of us, we are all in a unique challenge in some area of our life. Just know that it's here because you're ready for it, you can handle it, and this is your initiation into your next level of greatness.
That is beautiful. I love that. And of course, he's one of my absolute favorites, Joe Dispenza. Yes, I heard something really interesting and not too long ago. It says your calling does not happen in your comfort zone. And I thought that was really interesting.
That's true.
Isn't that interesting? Your calling does not happen in your comfort zone. So if we're comfortable, then we're not really reaching our calling. So just a different perspective. So because we're here on the Epic Vision Zone, Allyson, I have one last question, and I feel like we could go on forever. So I'm so excited to ask you this question. If your life were an epic story, and I feel like it already is, what would the title be?
Oh my gosh, Jane. It would be Allyson. Never underestimate the power of a redhead.
I love it.
That's all I can
That
come
was
up with.
totally unexpected. Oh my gosh, that is great. I love it. That is
I was thinking
fabulous.
crappy. But I really like Allyson, like that book Tiger. Allyson. Yes. Never underestimate the power of redhead.
I love it. Oh my gosh, you got to write that one now. This is what I like to do, is put people in a state of imagination. You know, I don't ask them what their goals are. That to me, that just gets me right into my left brain. It's like, oh my God, now I'm thinking and I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed. Oh, she needs to know my goals. No, it's like, let's create a story and have some fun. You know, we forget, life needs to be fun. It doesn't need to be rooted in seriousness to get where we need to go. And of course, that generates great energy as well. Anyway, so I want to thank you again, Allyson, for joining us here today. Be sure to check out Allyson's website at Allyson Chavez. That's ALLYSONCHAVEZ, and it'll be on our website. So AllisonChavez.com, where you can download her free prosperity guide, which I did, and I absolutely love it. And also connect with Allyson on Instagram, Facebook, and check out her September live workshop. That's coming up. It's not too far away. And you can find all of her contact info and much more on the Epic Vision Zone bio pages. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at Jane Applegath. And don't forget to reach out to me at janeapplegath.com, where you can access your free download, The Keys to Your Dreams. Looking forward to connecting with you. This has been the Epic Vision Zone, transforming your dreams into epic success.